This is a quick tutorial on how to replace an iPad screen. These will be the tools required for the repair. First things you want to make sure you do is you turn your iPad off. To begin with, we're going to heat up the screen in order to get the adhesive to loosen up a little bit. That way it's easier to lift the glass. We're going to go around the glass as many times as necessary. One of the things that I recommend you to do is to start using your picks and start creating the gap. That way it's help you out in the process. Now we're gonna get another second pick and we're gonna move it around the other corner. And you see how easy it is to lift everything. So we are going to finish lifting by keep giving some of the hot air towards the bottom part. We're gonna get another pick and then we're gonna go from that end all the way down to make sure that all your corners are already lifted. You do want to make sure around this end, because this is where your connection for the home button it is. If you read that corner, you are going to need another home button flex. We keep giving a little more heat to the other part and the rest should come easy. One quick recommendation: when you see ends like this one is not as damaged, but when you see iPad that might have a lot more cracks on the screen, my recommendation is to get an adhesive, tape, something like that, put it all over the glass in order for the shattered parts to come out easier and not have a million pieces all over the place. In this tablet, we experience a little bit of an issue. You might experience that same problem if your tablet is being dropped, especially on a corner. Now, one of the things that you want to be aware of, especially when replacing the screen on this, it's first off your LCD. You don't want to put your fingers on it, anything around it, because it will mark it. And second, as you can see the damage on the corner of this iPad, you're most likely going to experience a lot of iPads with these problems, because it's by the damage hitting the corner, the pressure is usually what cracks the screen. Some of these parts you might need to file them down in order to have the screen fitting perfectly to avoid extra damage after. So now that we have the screen open, we want to make sure that it separates everywhere. Again, when I was mentioning on the right hand side of your tablet, these are your flexes. This is your home button that goes all the way into the motherboard. Your home button flex is the only part that will stay out of this old screen, and the other two flex, you don't really have to worry about them because they will be replaced with the new part. So you're gonna get a 1.5 star screwdriver. You're gonna start with removing the screwdrivers on the top parts. They are covered by a black tape. These are 4 total screws that you have to remove, which are holding the LCD down. We'll be a little careful on lifting the LCD. Want to make sure there's nothing around and holding it. Underneath the LCD, we're also going to find another more screw that we have to take out in order to remove and disconnect the screen and the LCD. So the LCD, it's removed. We're gonna put it on the side. Make sure that you do not put the LCD somewhere where you can compromise and get damage. The other two connections will be from your screen, and underneath the black tape, it's your home bottom connection. So as you see, the new screen doesn't have the home button. This is the reason why we needed to remove that part. Now we're gonna go ahead and seat it again, but you gotta make sure that you use a little bit of adhesive around that area in order to sit the home button perfectly and avoid any internal damage. You can use some of the tin adhesive and go around that part. Now, after you put a little bit of adhesive around the home bottom area, you also want to make sure that you put adhesive as well on the shield part that will be holding the home bottom down. I recommend you to remove the plastic part in order to make sure that once placing the home bottom down, you're not taking any other plastic underneath. Okay, now that we have all the adhesive paper open, you're gonna make sure that you match this part first. Okay. So once you make sure that you match this part with the frame, that's when you go ahead and you sit your shield and your part around properly. You want to make sure that before you press down, you get the click on it. Perfect. Now this part, you still gotta follow up and sit it where it was before. Now we go back to the iPad. We're going to go ahead and you can either remove these parts first, whichever makes you more comfortable. For me, since I have an idea already, I like to remove it. So now we're gonna go ahead and connect the home bottom again. Make sure that you do close this part. I do have the little adhesive that goes on it. I'll put it right back on it. You're gonna make sure you connect your screen. My recommendation is to get these flexes and kind of bend them a little bit so that way it won't interfere with the LCD. Now we get the LCD and we're gonna make sure that we align it properly. Now, something that you want to be very, very careful is when removing these flexes, you want to make sure with the pins, because they're very delicate, and this will basically avoid the functionality of some parts, especially on the new screen. You might be experiencing some touching issues or not. Once we close everything out, before we put everything, you're gonna go ahead and turn the device. This will give you an idea of knowing the screen, it's good. You should be able to have all touches and everything. I recommend you to do this before you close it out. That way you don't waste your time in case the part might have any issues. So now we're gonna go back and we're gonna make sure that we close it out. Put in the proper screws. Try to separate them because the top screws, especially in the LCD, are slightly bigger than the rest. Do not press everything out until you have 4 of them That way you don't want to give some extra pressure on one side and the other, because it will reflect on your LCD. Before closing it, make sure that you get anti-scratch cloth. That way you can go over your LCD before closing it and make sure that everything is clean. The marks can be made by your screen getting cracked, so you gotta be very, very careful. The way that I said earlier, this one we didn't have to worry about it, but what you want to check before sealing it in is that these corners, this one doesn't have that much damage, so you'll be able to see the screen with no problem. But if you notice that your corners are a little more dent in, that's when you're gonna have to start filing it up in order to see the screen perfect. And this is how you repair an iPad. Now, if you have any questions, any doubts, any concerns, or if you want to give us a little bit of a feedback, just make sure that you hit that comment section and don't forget to follow back.